to this Valkyrie Connect guide on gear presets. By default, you will have access to 20 gear slots, with an additional 40 slots being available through the VIP system, 10 of which are obtained at VIP 2, 4, 6, and 8. I just went through and cleaned up all my gear sets for the sake of this video, and I'm down to 46 presets. 24 of those are all for EX battles specifically. Since there's 25, I'm missing a gear for one of them. And now there's the new EX Erd group, which has 2 fights so far, Ymir and Mimir. So if you take out those 24 and you gear for 3 or 4 EX battles at a time, then you can reduce that requirement by a lot. So 24 gear slots, or what would be 25 for the original 25 EX battles. I also have 2 TOT loadouts, one for floor 18 and one for floor 20. And let me amend earlier comments that I've made about getting carried through TOT. It's likely much easier that you're going to get carried through like TOT 16, 17, 18, or 20. Unless you're carrying other people through specific floors every week, or you're doing something for your own personal goal, then you really only need 1 TOT floor on your presets. Or 2, you know, the most current one you're pushing and the one that you can farm actively. So now we're down to the original 20 that you have as base game. And yet again, another 10 of those right off the top are the 10 heinous battles. I have a preset for each one. I even put them in order, because I'm a little OCD. But with EX content and heinous battles and TOT out of the way, the last 10 remaining presets are what I'm going to go through and speak about. So the first set is a general set, not much to say here. I keep it cleared at most times unless I'm running through the one specific thing. Basically, general is just a quick, empty, null and void one that you can just throw anything on at any time you need, and I keep it clean otherwise. Now, arena and TPS is my second gear set. It's probably the biggest and most important one. So, as you can imagine, it's the one that has your arena defense and grand arena defense loadouts. And TPS is total power score. This is my current arena loadout right now, and a little known fact about Valkyrie is that your TPS is determined by the gear on your arena defense loadout. So whatever loadout you have selected as your arena defense will be the one that the game calculates to determine your total power score. So when you inspect your power score from the ranking page here, this number is determined by that arena defense gear set. I just breached top 150 again, so go me. Also, low-key, what happened to table tennis? Where'd that account go? It was number 1 for the longest time. Shoutouts to my member Kairos, who's ranked 17 right now. Good job. Anyway, back to gear sets. So on this arena and TPS loadout, you'll want to equip everybody with as much as humanly possible. Everybody's got gear, even if they're not one of the 15 on my arena or GA. You just throw every single piece of gear that you've got on them. But it's this war for TPS that also introduces the limitations of the inventory. So there's only so many physical pieces of gear you can hold on to increase the power score of your heroes. And it becomes a challenge late game. One other thing I want to mention about PvP loadouts is that some people split their defense and offense loadouts. I mean, I just have most of my best stuff go on offense with this gear set, but a lot of the times you can build different counters and have equipment that serves different purposes if you know the enemy that you're attacking has certain all-ally resists that you shouldn't bother bringing on gear. I know a lot of people have 1 or 2 different presets just for different assaults, like PvP assault in general. I just operate everything from the main arena loadout. Okay, moving on, I have a score attack preset. This is just something just to farm every day anyway, even if you don't need the awakening materials right now. It's kind of at a slow trickle-in pace, so it's good to do it when you can anyway. But this loadout just has all of the main 7 crystals throughout the week. It has a team of 5 built that can go in and burst it down in under 5 seconds. Having this will save you a few clicks and a couple headaches from completing your score attack daily mission. Okay, next on the list is World Raid. I kind of have one dedicated for this, even though the event's not always around. It's good to have one available that you can just build and hop in. If you are around and farming, hopefully you got a couple copies of the Darnation Scythe. It's a really good gear, really good PvE piece going forward. I got 1 5-star and 2 4-stars. Next on the list is Colosseum and or Gildra. I kind of swap those between. I don't think there's ever been Colosseum and Gildra going on at the same time, so I usually just swap this one back and forth between Colo and Gildra. Another note when you're building for Gildra and or Colosseum is to make sure that you're using the right expertise page when you put the loadout as well. I usually have my Spatak and Knockdown builds on the first page and my G-Power builds on the second page for PvP. If you're going to have all of your PvP pages on the second. Be sure to switch to it for content where you want the G power on your heroes. After the Colosseum Gildra preset, I have 2 gear slots that I saved for the current ECBs. And right now those 2 are Vios and Zodi. These obviously come and go quickly, but you only have to gear them once. Gearing for much shorter events can be tedious, but just like everything else, team building is a skill that you can train and develop, and you can make gearing your gear sets very quickly once you are acclimated to what gears can do and how you should be building to generate enough skill gauge or CC the enemy enough or bring a counterattack or bring a proper damage. Just know that team building can seem like the tedious part of the game because the auto button's there and it can kind of do the job, but not really, because most of the time it's pretty bad in this game, unlike other games that can do auto gear really well. Moving on to the final 3 gear sets, I have Connect Battle presets. Now these are all for different difficulties. My 8th slot for CB clears is going to be for like everything 8 or 9 star. If it's a 10 star, I've probably got it put on an ECB loadout. The Super CB's 2 star is for any S2s that I need to go help a guilty farm or an alt or something like that, or a rando in chat. Same thing with the Infernal CBs for 4 star difficulty or S4. At the very beginning, if you're an early game player, you're not going to be able to load out all 5 of those bosses onto one. You'll probably have to have a preset dedicated for each S3 or S4 boss while you're pushing it until you pick up a new hero or get a new piece of gear that was limiting you previously. Alrighty, but that's pretty much it. I'll show all the gear sets that I have up here on screen, and for the most part this has gotten me through the thick and thin of it. Is it nice having all these extra gear sets for the EX battles that I have like this? Yeah, it's really nice, but if I really had to do without them I probably could. And you get an extra 10 from VIP 2, which if you're playing the game for long term really isn't, you know, that big of an investment. But there you go. That's how I would load out my original 20, and if I didn't have any extra, I would be trading out some of the heinous for some of the current EXs that I'm trying to farm. That way I have as little extra team building to do every time a new content comes around. Alright, I appreciate all of you so much for joining me today, and hope this information helped you out. If it did, leave a like, comment down below if you have any other follow-up questions or other videos that you'd like to see. I'm going to be producing a lot of other guides on my own schedule here. And if you enjoyed the content, then subscribe if you vibe. But until next time, Foots out. Cheers.